That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Maneater, I think it's the 13th film directed by Justin Lee.
What?
His fourth film this year, which is never a good sign. Saban Films is releasing it on August 26, 2022.
This thing was garbage, but I suspect that that's what they were going for. So, mission accomplished.
I am not quite sure.
Wow. This movie is it's like Sharknado bad, but not as ridiculous. And there aren't any jokes, so you're just laughing at the movie. Mm-hmm. So again, if that's what their intention was, which is funny because we just watched that film that was released 2 months ago called the Requin with Alicia Silverstone.
Yes, and also that director's third film, one of 3 films this year.
So
that movie is at least fun because that is a Liz Berkeley level performance.
Well, that's the thing. That movie is equally as bad or poorly written, but I think because Alicia Silverstone is going ham, it made it more enjoyable. This one was a little tedious. I really did spend the entire time making fun of everything. So,
Well, and with a group of characters that even immediately it's like, when's the shark going to start eating them?
Which the shark does very quickly. So
but it's almost like it doesn't happen fast enough. But
this movie could get this movie's getting 2 awards. The first one is for shooting in Hawaii and making it the least picturesque film shot in Hawaii. And it looks so. Some of the footage looks like it's taken from a tourism board's commercial reel.
It was like the wasted opportunity of Tyler Perry's "Why Did I Get Married 2?" Because where are they with that?
They're in the Bahamas.
And completely neglects that location.
And just all these close-up shots and yeah. But anyway, so the story takes place in Hawaii, I believe. It's shot in Hawaii.
Maui,
But it seems pretty generic for where it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are 2 things happening. Trace Adkins plays this guy who has a very young daughter who is eaten by a shark.
His name's Harlan.
And Harlan, Trace Adkins, is upset because he does some research and finds out that the shark who attacked her, or that attacked her, is a great white. But in the region she was swimming in, the only sort of sharks that are known to occupy that water are tiger sharks. So he's saying that this shark doesn't belong here and that it's hunting humans.
It's like a Tinto Rara.
And the law enforcement is not doing anything, so he says, well, I have to go kill the shark on my own. So we have Trace Adkins out in this water trying to find this shark. And we don't see much of it. We just see him that's his intention. Okay, then the other part of the story is there are 5 friends who are on a trip in the same area to sort of help their friend Jessie, played by
Nicky Whelan, who's in that film that you haven't watched, Inconceivable, with Faye Dunaway and Nicolas Cage and Gina Gershon.
Oh. She's having relationship issues, so her friends take her on this trip to help ease her mind.
I think her fiance dumped her?
Something like that. Okay.
Okay.
They rent a boat, a party boat.
Mm-hmm. A booze cruise.
Which is so ridiculous because the purpose of the boat, besides drinking, is this captain is going to, and we're going to talk about the captain and his wife, but the captain, it's Neil, but they're supposed to go to some island. What?
Love will keep us together.
Oh.
Anyway. Sorry.
They are supposed to go to this island and spend the night with no provisions, but whatever.
Yeah,
so
we'll talk about that.
So they get to the island and immediately the shark kills everybody.
The day after.
Well, but as far as timing goes in the film, very rapid succession. That is the one good thing about this movie. It opens with a shark attack and then it just keeps going. So they get to this island and the shark kills the captain, his wife, all of Jessie's friends. She's the only one left. She has a walkie-talkie. She's calling Mayday or whatever. And then Trace Adkins' character picks up her call, makes his way to her, explains there's this shark out here killing folks. And she says, well, let's kill it. And they do. She lures the shark in, which we need to talk about that scene. And then Trace Adkins shoots it and kills it.
And then you're forgetting about a whole other character on the mainland, played by Jeff Fahey, who's a
sharkologist.
A sharktologist.
A sharktologist.
A paleontologist.
He's the one who explains to Trace.
He's teaching the local class about identifying bite marks based on...
He's the one who explains to Trace that this was a great white and this shark doesn't belong in these waters. But Fahey is important to the end of the film because...
Important. Yeah.
So after everything's settled, he shows up to Trace Adkins' house with this brown man who was doing some of the worst acting I've seen in a while.
From South Asia.
Who says he's from Southeast Asia.
Lots of pauses in the dialogue.
Ugh. Who says that like I need your help. There's a shark killing people at my hotel. And then Trace's character says it in a way that's like there's probably going to be a sequel. The end.
Yeah, they actually crib on a famous line from Jaws about getting a bigger boat.
I don't know where to begin. My first note is, so the second award this film is getting is for the worst hair of 2022.
I mean, it's bad because I could see her tracks.
Because even you, yeah. Okay, so here's the problem. What's this lady's name?
Nicky Whelan.
Oh my God. Okay, so this white lady has super fine, thin hair. And it's bleached to hell. And she has those individual extensions, which are usually like keratin that's heated on, like, or the clamped on. And the placement of these extensions is like Britney Spears bad. Because it's all like up on her edges. And then her edges are all broken. So you can see right through that fine, thin ass, broken ass hair. It's just so distracting because someone like me, and even you saw it, it's that bad.
Well, it looks bad because I'm like, what's poking out their brains?
Then she has her hair for most of the film in this like ratty ponytail. But then after everyone gets killed, now she lets her hair free. But it's so damaged and bad. And I'm assuming whomever was working on her hair thought we can cover it up by having her look windswept. Mm-hmm. So for a big portion of the movie, she looks like she's been in like a wind tunnel and then they were spraying hairspray. So it just looks terrible.
And plumped lips and she's a pretty lady. She reminds me of she has the energy of like a long lost Arquette sibling.
This movie would be a PSA for like what can happen if you over process your hair and put all this stress on it because it's so damaged, so broken. And women with hair like that who put those kind of extensions, when they take them out, a bunch of hair falls out with it. Her hair was so fine and thin with the extensions that her ponytail was like this thick. So you know when she takes those things out, like a chipmunk would have more hair than her. It was so distracting.
And then there's...
I don't know why she's not wearing a wig because her best friend...
Sonny, played by Porscha Coleman, who was from the Parkers, and Dad, Stop Embarrassing Me.
Okay, Porscha is stunning.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
But Porscha... Oh my God. She's stunning, but she is wearing all of the makeup. All of it. She is fully done.
And I think it's important to note that they stayed overnight on this island in the sand without a tent.
Okay, we need to...
And Porscha pops right out.
Full face. Like she's about to work at the club in P Valley. Like she is fully done up. Wig. There's no way that lady with that wig on slept in that sleeping bag on the sand.
The very first interaction...
With a full face of makeup. Full eyelashes, full brows filled in.
The very first interaction between Jessie and Sonny when we realized that, like, as Jessie's, like, touching her engagement ring, and she says, if I had to stay in the house any one more day, I'd kill myself.
I wrote that down. If I stayed one more day, I think I would have killed myself.
You know, this isn't, like, a sure and hard rule, but sometimes, you know, when as an audience with characters, there's a relationship there, and like any relationship, when you reveal too much, too intensely, up front, it's like, oh, you're crazy.
Whoever did the cinematography, it's just like for the same reason that drag queens don't like to go out in the daylight, like to have these two ladies, because the opening is the black lady and her best friend, the Jessie lady, sitting at this bar, like outside on the beach, and the lighting is so bad. And the Jessie lady doesn't have the best skin texture, and then she's just so much powder, so much, and then what is the black lady's character? What's her character?
Sunny.
Sunny.
Like the Boney M song.
Her makeup's done beautifully. It's just a lot of it, and it just looks so crazy. Like you're on vacation, you're about to get on a boat out in the ocean in the sun. Why are you wearing all this makeup?
Yeah, all of them.
And why is your wig not tied down? Ugh. But anyway, so moving on. Within the first 10 minutes of the film, I felt like the music was too much.
Oh, Daniel Figueiredo is the composer. It's like intense, terrible things are happening, and then we get a segue that's like the music suggests a situational comedy.
Yeah.
Like Hogan's Heroes or some shit.
But how long is this movie? 90 minutes?
Yeah.
How many songs do you think there are?
Way too many. And
like 30?
And one talking about hoes.
Oh yeah, there's one that we swore the lyric is like the chorus is like she's a hoe. There's another song where I think the song's called Trouble's Going to Eat You Alive, which I thought sounded like if Jeremy Renner sang it. If you don't know, Jeremy Renner has songs on like that he's recorded. One of them is called
Heaven Don't Got a Name, But yes, sir, heaven does have a name. It's called Heaven. And DJ Sammy's been there.
Yeah, look it up. Look up Heaven Don't Have a Name by Jeremy Renner. Okay, so then there's a scene where Trace Adkins goes to local law enforcement, which appeared like the sheriff or whomever he is. I think it's the sheriff. Is played by this Polynesian man. Mm-hmm. And the way Trace is talking to him about like the area as if he's native and this man isn't is outrageous. And he's screaming like a shark killed my baby and I want to know what you're going to do about it. Like, what am I supposed to do?
And Trace Adkins, who's a country singer, he was recently in Old Henry, which we reviewed, and I remember not thinking he was too egregiously terrible in that, but he's featured way too much in this. Don't need it. And it's at that point in the film where he becomes like Duck Dynasty Captain Ahab.
Yeah, it's laughable.
Very.
But he's not trying to be funny.
No.
Okay, so getting to the captain of the boat and his, I think, wife.
Yes, it's his wife.
The wife is named Beth. What is the captain's name?
Captain Wally, played by Ed Morrone and Kim DeLonghi.
Okay, yeah. Ed Morrone is the captain. I thought was the only character who seemed like could act and like the dialogue wasn't ridiculous.
Could navigate these rough waters, yes.
Yeah, so he did the best of everyone.
He was cute. He reminded me if you mashed together Seth Rogen and Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, he was kind of handsome, and then he had a very nice beard, mm-hmm. I thought. But anyway, he's married to this lady named Beth, and that lady, that acting was...
She is played as if she is mentally ill. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she seems mentally ill.
No, she has the acting chops of Ms. Juliette Danielle from The Room.
Yeah, it's awkward. Because even like... Well, it's like her physical acting and facial expressions, but also her giving the dialogue. Some of it's like mumbled. I can barely understand it. And then a lot of it just... I mean, it's the screenwriter's fault. Some of this dialogue makes no sense. Her reactions to people don't seem like things that humans say to each other.
Right. No, because all the girls get on the boat. The women get on the boat and she's like, but there's two of you.
They get to the island and it's immediately established that they have no cell service. Mm-hmm, like immediately. So that's why they use walkie-talkies. So of course we're thinking, oh, they're going to be stranded on the island. But then I thought it's so stupid to establish there's no cell service because the way in which all these people get killed has nothing to do with them not having cell service. So I didn't like that. Just like, were you trying to distract us?
Well, all of it's garbage. And then Shane West is also part of the crew, playing a litigation lawyer. Yeah, sure, Shane. Keeping that same hairstyle that he's had since, I guess, 2003. But he makes a joke about Jessie flirting with Ed Morrone. He's like, oh, he's old. It's like, that man is more well-preserved than you. But...
So the other guy in the group who's like, that character feels like he's out of the room.
Ty?
Yes. He's
like Denny.
Yes. Like, as soon as they get to the island, he's all excited because they have to take a smaller boat from the big boat because of the reef. They're not allowed too close to the island. So they take this small raft. And before he gets on the raft, he wants to have a beer. So he takes this huge, like, hunter's knife and stabs the beer.
In the middle, like, sideways.
In the palm of his hand. So, of course, the knife goes through his hand. He's bleeding terribly. And the captain's like, oh, my God, let me patch you up. But, like, you cannot... Like, you need to keep this hand out of the water because if there's blood in the water, it's going to attract small fish, which are going to attract big fish, i.e. sharks.
And there's another line about this is an ecosystem built on blood.
Then, what does stupid Ty do? Get in the damn water. Because morning. There's a scene where another girl who's part of the party, who I actually thought was quite lovely, she has the hots for Ty and she wants, like, be sexy with him. So they go skinny dipping, kind of. She rips off her bottoms.
Not the top.
But not her top. So you got your ass and your coochie hanging out, but then you're wearing a bra, runs into the water, and then Ty takes off his shirt, runs into the water, and immediately is just bleeding profusely. Of course, the shark comes and kills them.
And then really knocks everybody else out quite quickly, just when things are about to get super hysterical.
Then we wake up the next morning, and there are 3 left. Shane, Bunny, Sonny, and Jessie.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another one.
Oh, yeah. And they wake up, again, I just don't understand, like, so you pay to go sleep on an island on the sand with no provisions because they talk about food, and they're like, we don't have any. We have to go back to the boat.
And no pillows.
Not like they're just on the sand.
Heads of hair in the sand. That's not comfortable.
And then we don't even see darkness. It literally skips from like the 2 people get killed during the day. Mm-hmm. Well, actually 4 people because the captain and his wife, they fall into the water. And then, it just turns to the next morning. Like, the one opportunity to have some sort of suspense and dread, like, on this island at night, they just totally eliminated that. Okay, so when Jessie and Trace Adkins decide that they're going to kill the shark themselves, even though the Coast Guard is on its way, help is on the way. Do you know how they trap this shark? Because they discovered that the shark is maybe stuck in like the reef is blocking it. So because it's low tide, Jessie decides that she's going to jump in the water and swim towards the boat. And while she's swimming towards the boat, the shark's going to come to her. And that's when Trace can kill it.
He's shotgun blasted to death. Yep.
That was unbelievable.
Well.
Like, that was just so stupid. And then the scene where Trace is shooting the shark.
What do they say? Do you jump the shark?
Because first of all, the special effects, the CGI is pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And then we have a combination of CGI and it's a practical shark that looks like it's made out of foam that was painted. Mm-hmm. And that looks ridiculous. Yeah, that ending was outrageous. But getting back to when Shane West gets attacked by the shark. Mm-hmm. The other thing too is every time the shark attacks people, it's like it looks like it's ripping it to shreds. But somehow every person is able to like swim away. Yeah,
they swim away for a little bit.
But the funniest one was Shane because his arm is ripped off, or one of his legs is ripped off, and then he's like his entire back is chewed off.
Yeah.
And he's somehow able to make it to the water.
Like I think you can see ribs.
You could see the bones from the back. Mm-hmm. But he's still alive, and Jessie's trying to help him. So she grabs the first aid kit, which had me howling. Like, what is in this first aid kit?
Well, because is she trying to cauterize the leg?
Well, that's what we thought, that she was going to cauterize his leg. But before we even get that far, he tells her, I think my leg's broken. No, boo, your leg is gone.
Well, and then she has a bottle of liquor because, of course, they have booze with them. And then
she applies a tourniquet.
But then he asks for a drink of booze, and she's like, "That's going to dehydrate you."
No, she said it'll thin your blood, so you'll bleed out.
If you're not going to cauterize him, just let him drink.
He's certainly going to die. Like, let the man have some brown liquor. That was so stupid. But again, I was laughing. Then when Jessie and Trace are talking about the shark, she's like, it's not a monster.
It's the devil. No, girl.
It's actually a shark.
And that's where we needed Nelly Furtado to come in the soundtrack, but she did not.
The only other note I have is the end, getting back to look like this black man who owns this hotel in Southeast Asia who can't act. He's like sharing his story about like all the people who've died and how his family business is going to go under and he really needs Trace's help.
And I think there's a spirit.
And then Trace goes, well, that's just fucking stupid. No respect. And then ultimately is convinced. And then what's the line again that they take from Jaws?
He asked what kind of boat the people, because they sent out fishermen to take care of the shark, and what kind of boat do they have? And like blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, we're going to need a bigger one.
The end. Anyhow, the landscapers are here, so it's getting loud. What would you give this movie?
0.5. It's not fun, and it's dumb in every possible regard.
I guess I'd have to give it 0.5 because it's so poorly done. Although I think if it's streaming somewhere, like I wouldn't pay extra, with friends and booze, it could be amusing to sit and make fun of. But yeah, if you're not in the mood, this is unwatchable.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.